Alright, so mission stage must have a valid map. All stages must have valid maps. So I'll grab the stage name there. Missions must have an objective. Yeah, I mean we need at least one objective because otherwise they're not going to show up anywhere. So stages don't need objectives, but missions do. And why don't we do a warn log? Mission should have at least one objective. Check assets, %S. And this is some basic helper stuff, right? Like, if we're going through and we're making missions and we make a mission that's invalid, we want to know. Missions must have some conditions for tiers. So how should this be? Basically, I want to know at least somewhat what tiers we got. So in 32 tiers equals 0. So if mission dot what result tier? I mean, we also need a rank stat for the mission. And this is not an error, it should be warn log. Alright, so if mission dot, what is it? Ranked stat, result tier objectives, color scheme, cutscene, no, it's a stage, ranked stat, yeah, so mission dot ranked stat. This is not a not equals, this is equals, or, right here. Rank stat is going to be EBS stat none. If it equals undefined, then alright. Missions must have a valid ranked stat. Check this guy. Alright, let's go through every stage here and we're just going to do more plus equals for everything. So we're basically just counting all the conditions for tiers, and if there's literally nothing and you'll always get diamond on something, that's a problem. We'll just be like, hey, you didn't set anything for this? And that's just going to be a warning. There are only conditions for result tiers. Check asset %S. All right. Do we have the objectives already? Yes, we do. Missions must have condition for tiers. We have that. Let's see. Missions must have thumbnails? I guess that's something else. Mission must have valid thumbnail. Check asset. So what else we got? We got result contexts. That's not a big deal. Player number, skill rating, category, stages, rank stat, result tier, intro cutscene, exit cutscene, win condition, loss condition, objectives, mission completion, unlocked by. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is just go through every one of these missions. And we want to snag the mission off of it. So we want to know if mission, yeah, we're going to do for f mission unlock, and mission unlocked by. Oh, I guess that's something else we should double check, is we should have an error for locked name and unlocked name. Actually, we should probably overwrite it. If there's nothing there, then we'll get rid of it. So if mission.locked name is equal to nothing, we're going to say mission.locked name. I guess we should warn. I guess I'll just have it default to locked. So if locked name is equal to nothing, then we should error log. Missions must have a locked name. And I should probably actually just have a if things are bad. So things are busted is false. Actually, things busted is equal to 0, and what we'll do is we'll just things busted ++ on it. So we'll have like a big list of things that are wrong, so you don't have to like keep exporting. You can just get a big list of things that are screwed, and mission must have a locked name. Check asset %s. The other thing I could do is, yeah, we'll just do it simply. So maybe we should do errors and warnings. So we'll do it that way. So all the things that are errors, we'll have errors for missions must have a locked name. We also need an unlocked name. Alright, so if errors is greater than 0, return false. We'll do an info log here. Yeah, so if warnings is greater than 0, alright, so this should greatly help us not break all our crap all the time. Let's see, win conditions, loss conditions. That's another thing. Missions need win and loss conditions, right? So we got tiers. I guess the big thing is we need win conditions. We might not need loss conditions. Everything needs a win condition. Missions don't need win conditions, but stages do. Okay. So for every stage, if stage start stage name, and then we need the asset as well. So that's an error. Should we warn about loss conditions for stages? I don't think so. I think loss conditions are fine. I could warn about it, but I don't see how that's... I could definitely see stages that don't have loss conditions, and that's fine. Win conditions are different. Alright, so I'll have an error log here, which is going to say missions must have a valid B. Couldn't find mission %s to unlock mission %s, check %s. Couldn't find mission, which would be unlock.mission name. To unlock mission, star mission.name. Is there anything else we need to double check for all these missions? I mean, that's the only big one that would be really screwy. Alright. Let's compile that and run it and make sure that we start getting our warnings and errors. Because that's what we need. More warnings, more errors. Also, I need more energy drink. And I gotta hand it to the spiders this year. They're doing their job. Because as in any spring, ants start trying to find places to come into your house as they look for new territories to conquer. and enslave the populace of. Alright, check. We don't have the asset, do we? Honestly, that's a showstopper. So what I'm going to have to do is, instead of iterating over the mission array here, I'm just going to have to do it this way. Which is fine, it's an export tool, so be a little bit inefficient. But yeah, the spiders down here in the basement have been killing those bastards all over the place. You can tell they're waking up too. So good job, spiders. Keep the defenses up. It's like a big real life game of tower defense. You gotta kill the ants. Because I've got one that I'm leaving alone. He was right next to the door that isn't sealed super well, and he's just hanging out there right where the seal isn't super great with the door, and he's just waiting. Any unsuspecting insects that try to make their way in there, he just getting killed. I should name it Shelob, the spider bro, keeping the back door secure from invaders. You gotta stop the hobbits from invading your house, right? You wake up, you walk downstairs, you're just like, what the fuck? What the hell's there's hobbits in the basement? Get the get the gun. So we're going to test is that this is actually giving us good errors and warnings for our current missions. Because the issue with our mission unlock stuff here is that it's very easy to not have a mission that's unlockable. The other thing I could do is I could add a little checkbox that says, like, I know you can't unlock this mission. It is locked forever. So why don't we just do that right now, actually? Because I can definitely see that as a thing. So mission unlocked should be cannot be unlocked. So we have unlocked by, and so why don't we have a bool here, which is never unlocked. And we'll default that to false. This is convert to game mission, so alright, let's generate that thing. Oh man, I've been starting to rewatch Battlestar Galactica since it's been forever since I watched it, and it's all on Amazon. And it just occurred to me there are like zero black characters in the show, which is really funny. It's just like, yeah, oh man, 10 years ago, the dark days under President Bush, there were no black people. They didn't exist. Because I was thinking, I was like, ah, man, they're gonna have one black dude and he's gonna be a Cylon and they'll kill him. It's like, no, we solved that problem. It's like, what do you mean you solved it? Don't worry about it. Alright, so I'll get this rebuilt here. We'll run it. And one of the other funny things is this one guy at Amazon who I worked with, he was raised pretty, I think he was raised Christian, and you can usually tell when people are raised like actually like religiously Christian, usually because they don't swear for real. They'll say gosh and darn and heck instead of they'll say frickin' and when they get upset instead of saying like you goddamn asshole, you're annoying bastard. They'll say something like, oh bless your heart. But he used all the same parlance that they use in that show for swearing, which is when they were aired on cable, right? So they say frack and all this other stuff all the time instead of actually swearing, and they say it so often that it stops bugging you. But every single time they do it now, I'm just reminded of the guy at Amazon who just never swore, and he talked in their parlance with. It's just like, God damn it. Speak like a normal person, you bastard. Come on, you're not better than us. You're just as vulgar as us. Just admit it already. That was also one funny thing. Down at GDC, when I was hanging out with people who were getting way too drunk for their own good, they were talking about coworkers that they didn't like, and it was pretty funny. One of them was talking about this one guy who always put a bowl of candy out on his desk for people. And you'd think, oh, he puts, a bowl of candy out there. Maybe he's trying to be nice, But of course, the reason he put the bowl of candy out there was not to be nice to people or, just like, oh, I'm a dad and all my kids like candy, so I just, I have it or some bullshit. No, he literally puts it out there because every time somebody comes by and grabs a piece of candy, he looks down on them because, they didn't have enough willpower to not eat the candy. So the whole thing was literally, if you took a piece of candy out of the jar, the guy just thought less of you about it. It's just like, and that's the kind of stuff you need to watch out for, because those people where it's active condescension, like it's a completely different thing if somebody just literally is a slob or something like that. Yeah, it's really, you would be fine with those people otherwise, but you're looking for some reason to think less of them. It's like, man, you were beaten as a kid, weren't you? Like, not in the good way, but in the like, you should have been beaten more sort of way. All right. Stage 2 doesn't have any win conditions. Check MS score goal 02. There are 1 errors. Resolve them. Unable to validate missions. Why didn't I get Angry Town up in the logs? Oh, because it's not playing. If I click that while it's playing. What a small man. Yeah. Array intertype mismatch and objectives. Current blah blah blah. Adding mission found asset. I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's just those people exist. People need to realize that there are people that just don't like you. Alright, so Stage 2 doesn't have any win conditions. Let's go take a look at Stage 2 then. MS score goal 02. No win conditions, huh? Well, there's a win condition, definitely. Time greater than or equal to on Stage 1. Well, Stage 0. The win conditions are... Yeah, so these don't have win conditions because they are skipped. Let's take a look. Missing win conditions are fine as long as there are no loss conditions. Is that what it's... It's just going to be skipped. Alright, so I need a stage checkbox that says this is a skipped stage. Alright. So win conditions. Let's see. Auto win. No win conditions. No win condition. I mean, those are also the same people that were complaining about just how toxic the work environment was where they are, and how awful, you know, how outrageous these people are that they work with, and, you know, telling stories like that of just like, ah, man, these guys are jerks. Like, God, they just always ragging on you and just get actions. All right, so it's gonna be. And what is it? New stage? Yeah, new stage dot no win conditions equals. Fuck you, IntelliSense. You are not helping me. You're replacing my text with something that is wrong. But they're talking about how toxic everything is and how just people backstab each other all the time and just all this stuff that is real bad to work with, you know. It's just like, man, that sucks. But then after you get them way too drunk, they start talking about how they're working on a completely separate side project that they've been working on for the past year and a half that they've been working on while they've been working for this other company that's completely, you know, completely against company policy and everything like that, right? You know, it's like this is clearly bullshit. They're not like using work computers as far as I know or anything like that, but and then they start talking about this and trying to get me excited about it or something like that, and I'm just like, you know, you guys really are talking a pretty big game about how toxic everything is and all that. You know, this is one of those things where, you know, when they're trying to catch Jesus stoning the lady, you know, according to the book, says we're supposed to stone this girl, and, you know, he's like, well, you know, he who has no sin cast the first stone, and then, you know, everyone leaves because, you know, they're all like, well, yeah, we were just bored and needed some entertainment, and we're trying to catch you in a Bible verse issue. Damn it, he got us. Got us, guys. Pack it up. Pack the stones up, buddy. Put them back in the locked stone container. It's like, you guys are probably causing your own problems. Such as, you know, it's the same story of, you know, people moving out west and the trail guide and New Independence or wherever the hell they started the Oregon Trail was, you know, these people are moving out west. They're like, oh man, you know, we're really gonna miss our neighbors. I hope we find good neighbors where we settle over in Oregon. Like, well, I'm sure you'll find good neighbors. And the next guy in the wagon train's like, oh man, I am not gonna miss my neighbors. They're all assholes. And, you know, I hope we have better neighbors out west. Guy's like, oh, I'm sure you won't. I think you'll find the same people. But then again, if you got people who are literally putting out trays of candy just to judge people silently, maybe you should move out west. Gotta clean all my greasy, stubby finger marks off of my monitor. Alright, so once we get this unlock stuff in here, we'll get the blob storage going. The next thing I can, in my commands here, there are only conditions for that. Stage doesn't have any wind conditions. No wind conditions equals false. Stage doesn't have any wind conditions. Check this, or set no wind condition flag. I mean, just imagine if Candy Plate Dude was in charge of everything, right? And that's the test of people being hired. Like, you roll into some interview, and you know there's a and there's a plate of candy in the middle of the room, or maybe like a glass of water. Like, they get you a glass of water or some shit, and like you do all these coding tests over hours or whatever. And if you eat from the plate of candy, or you drink some of the water when you're talking there, and then if you have to like go use the bathroom or something, they're like, oh, he's weak. It's like, oh man, how to hire psychopaths. That would be the best company to work for. That would be amazing. Because all your coworkers would be total assholes every single time. Either they'd be randomly selected, or they would understand the rules of engagement, which was you don't eat the candy. It's just fucking funny. Is there some way to pop up a warning dialog? How to create a confirm message dialog? Dialog boxes. These functions open a message dialog and display specified informations. Pops up a message. Alright, so we should do f message dialog. So there's like message dialog.h here. Don't do it, Visual Studio. Don't do it. You're doing it. You're doing the thing where you hang there like an old man hanging on. Jesus Christ. Okay, so we got static open debug f message op title. Pops open a message dialog box containing input string. So debug f. Okay, so we should have our f string output string. Alright, so let's see if that works. I mean, it's supposed to take f text, but we'll see if this conversion is here. So let's see, f string to f text. Convert f string to f text. Let's see. I guess all we have to do is dereference it. Well, the cool thing about if Maelstrom does their patch tomorrow, they're also going to push out my telemetry changes, which I haven't written the actual ETL jobs to take the telemetry collection and put it into decent stuff. Let's see. Cannot convert from const tchar to ftext argument 1. So let me see. Is this what it needs? As culture invariant. I have no clue. Let's find out. I haven't done the detailed jobs to actually take the data from the collection and put it into normalized rows. The only thing I've got is where it grabs it'll grab the event name and like the timestamp and machine IDs, so they can figure out how many users are joining maps and how many sessions are started and people die and all that, but they don't have like the XYZ position of the deaths or any of that. So it'll be cool. They can actually start doing some of the data stuff once I get that done. And we'll see if they can do anything. Cannot convert argument 2 from const tchar to const ftext. So we need to do the same garbage town slide on that. And I have to be up, I probably have to be up during normal, like, human hours this next week as well, at some point. Because some dude's gonna come by and mow my lawn because I gave up on that. I've given up on going outside. It's just too much of a pain in the ass. Mainly because I really don't care. The other thing being, it's actually not expensive to get somebody to do that for you. So, why? It also has to do with me never being awake at a decent hour. Oh, come on. Can I convert argument 2 from ftext to const ftext pointer? Fine, we'll please the gods of the ftext. They want a pointer? Well, there you go. There's a memory address on the stack. You happy? Yeah, I'm just looking on Facebook and somebody's posting shit about Dungeons and Dogs. Just like, cute animals exploring dungeons. And that, this is how furries get started. This is like the gateway drug to becoming a social outcast. Because you might think it's cute and innocent, and then all of a sudden, you're not just dogs, but you're puppies or something, and then you're cats, and then you're all playing as cat people, and then as cat children, and then Dungeons and Dragons turns into a very weird game. I'm basically referencing, there was one guy at EA, he was a DM for his own thing, and he needed some people for his group, so me and my brother were like, hey, I played Dungeons and Dragons in high school with a couple people, and that went alright, because it was okay. Error, there are 1 errors. Okay. Well, what's the output stir? Yeah, okay, so there are 1 errors, that's fine. And so my brother and I, what's the worst thing that happened? You know, this guy was a newer engineer on the team. He seemed like a reasonable person. Sure, you know, they need another person so we can show up. So I go over to this guy's house, and he's got. It was the most odd collection of people I believe I've ever seen. Like, one person was. Their job was like a camp counselor for Boy Scouts or some crap. Another person was. And so everybody who's going to this is like me and my brother were like 28 and or like 26 and like 28 or something at that time. The engineer guy was like maybe 40. And so then we had this camp counselor guy who was like 20. And then there was one other person who had to have their mom drop him off because he was like 17. And this is where you start, like, you know, if you ever gone over to somebody's place and you start planning your escape, you know, you look around, you're just like, I'm not so sure about this. Something odd going on. I can't really put my finger on it, but I should probably, you know, your brain starts shooting up signals. And so, you know, it's like this 16-year-old dude or something, or however old, and he's like, okay, let me get you into this Dungeons and Dragons world, and it's everybody has to choose everybody's children for this game, and it's this world of cats. Everybody's a different sort of cat. So, and he's going on and on about the descriptions of the different cat races you could be and their fur and all this other shit. And he's like, it's really important for this that you have to role play as a kid. So like, you have to ask your parents' permission to go, you know, out to the dungeon or some shit. Alright, so stage 2 doesn't have any win conditions. Check score goal 2 and set win conditions to true. Alright, so stage 2, stage 1. Stage 2. Let's see, no win condition. True. Alright. Alright, so we actually have checking on all of our missions now, which is awesome. So yeah, he's describing all this, and just I was like, okay, you know, this is a new person on our team. I'll stick it out for one night. Like, I'm there with my brother. It's not like these guys can, you know, if it's not like I'm here alone with a bunch of weirdos. Also, you know, at least there's no girls that are in odd ages or something. So the worst thing that can happen is, you know, also, you know, it's not like I'm a vulnerable person sitting there and it's like anybody tries some weird shit, they're gonna get shanked. So it's like, okay, I'll stick it out for one session, and it's just the weirdest shit. And we got back to my apartment later that night with my brother, and we're just like, they're not going back there again, man. I don't want to be the cat children again. He was also the guy who he really liked to use his laptop on the toilet in the public, you know, in the restroom there. It's just like, dude, that is the grossest fucking laptop of all time. Alright, so we have our export, it does our check, it does the things, and awesome. So we can do the unlocked by stuff for all these guys. So the question would be, how do we want to set up the unlocked by? So if we do this, we have these tiers basically, and the mission name should be the name of the mission, like score goal 02. Should it be a string, or should we make a big ass enum of missions just to make it simple? I mean, not to make it simple, but to make it easier to keep everything organized. I think we'll be alright with just names. So what I need to do is I need to go through every single mission here and set up their unlocks. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move everything into, what category is this? This is score, category is training. Alright, so let's go into the training category. Let's move absolutely everything over in there. Because Dungeons and Dragons in high school was a very different sort of beast entirely. Because there are actually girls present, which was cool because it's high school and it's a good excuse to be in a basement with people and, you know, talk and shit. Nobody gave a fuck about the story because we're just hanging out, drinking Mountain Dew and shit like that. These redirectors, nobody likes you. Fix the redirectors. And you play as like normal goddamn people with a normal goddamn story. You know, it's kind of odd for adult ass people to be pretending to be children in, you know, a non-ironic way. Alright, so score goal 01 has to be beat for score goal 02. Score goal 02 has to be beat for score goal 03. Score goal 04 needs to be that one, and we'll just go down the line. 04 by 4. It's another thing. The goals cannot be unlocked by themselves, because I can definitely see that as being an issue. Alright, next thing we need to do is export. There's 6 errors. Couldn't find mission score goal 06 to unlock mission score goal 07. Okay. Why not? Because we never put them in the array, right? I mean the set. Mission names, yeah, there we are. There we go. So that'll fix that guy. The next thing we want to do is must have a valid thumbnail. Couldn't find to unlock mission. So let's go through all of our unlocks. So if unlock dot mission name is equal to mission dot name, mission cannot unlock itself. Check this asset. Oops. Very good. Yeah, so it's actually not too bad as long as those names are... Like, you can copy paste that. That didn't take very long for me to hook up those missions with unlocks. So I'm not too worried about it. So basically we can have missions there that would not be unlocked unless you did a certain action. Very good. So it would be like, you have to get diamond tier on these other missions. In order to play this next mission. The other question is, should we have an order for missions as opposed to alphabetical? Alphabetical's fine. It's pretty reasonable, I think. Especially since these missions are not user-facing mission names. These are just code names, so just keep them all alphabetical and we'll be fine. Good to go. Not a problem. Alright, let's export the missions. And it looks like it did work that time. Excellent. So, the next thing I need to do, since we have the unlock information for this, is we need to save our data. So we need to make the persistence stuff. So let's see what we've got right now. So what service would this be on? The game data service? I think we have get mission data. Yeah, alright. So why don't we do it this way? Why don't we have get user blob. Now, should we have a specific type of blob? I think so. So what we'll do is we will have a context for the blob, and we're going to return, these are all game data objects, game.map